The air in the arena is thick, smelling of popcorn, sweat, and desperation. The Lakers are fighting for a playoff spot. And at the center of the storm is a 3-4-year-old man who has been playing for 45 minutes straight. No rest. No breaks. His name is Kobe Bryant. But look closely at his face. This isn't the face of a young prodigy anymore. His eyes are sunken. His breathing is heavy. His knees have zero cartilage left. He is dragging a body that has played over 54,000 minutes of professional basketball up and down the court. He is willing his body to move through sheer hatred of losing. Then, with 3 minutes and 8 seconds left on the clock, it happens. He drives to his left, past Harrison Barnes. He plants his foot to explode upward. Pop. A sound like a gunshot goes off. But no one else hears it. Only him. He collapses to the floor. He grabs his left heel. In that split second, he knows. The Achilles tendon, the thickest, strongest cord in the human body, has snapped. It has rolled up his calf like a broken window shade. The pain is blinding. It is the kind of pain that makes grown men vomit. It is the kind of injury that ends careers instantly. Most players would call for a stretcher. Most players would scream. But Kobe Bryant is not most players. Watch what he does next. It defies biology. He tries to use his fingers to physically pull the tendon back down. He is trying to fix a catastrophic injury with his bare hands so he can finish the game. When that doesn't work, he stands up. He walks. He walks on a foot that is no longer connected to his leg. He walks to the free throw line. The crowd is silent. They can see the tears in his eyes, not from sadness, but from the sheer, burning agony. He sinks the first shot. Swish. He sinks the second shot. Swish. He ties the game. Only then does he limp off the court on his own power. That night, in the locker room, while the doctors prepared for surgery, Kobe didn't cry about his career ending. He looked into a camera, his eyes red, and said, "This is such due." Asterisk. At that moment, we realized something terrifying about this man. He wasn't playing a game. He was fighting a war. And he was willing to die on that wooden floor rather than let you see him break. Who was the man who walked on a broken leg? To answer that, you have to understand the fracture in his identity. The world saw Kobe Bryant, but inside, there was a civil war raging for 20 years. On one side, there was number 8, young, arrogant, with an afro and a smile that hid a shark's teeth. He wanted to destroy Michael Jordan. He wanted to be the greatest individual talent the world had ever seen. He was the showboat, the villain. On the other side, there was number 24, the Black Mamba, the elder statesman, the cold, calculated assassin who stripped away all emotion to become a machine of efficiency. We worshipped the rings. We worshipped the fadeaway jumper. But we ignored the darkness that fueled it. We ignored the loneliness of a man who ate lunch by himself in high school because he didn't speak the language. We ignored the isolation of a superstar who was hated by his own teammates because he refused to pass the ball. We saw the glory. We didn't see the 4 a.m. phone calls, the broken relationships, and the obsessive need for control that bordered on madness. He was a hero to millions, but a stranger to almost everyone. We throw around the term Mamba mentality like it's a marketing slogan, like it's a hashtag for a Nike commercial. But in the next hour, we are going to peel back the sticker. We are going to look at the ugly, painful, and terrifying reality of what that mentality actually costs. We will argue that Kobe Bryant wasn't born great. He was engineered. He built the Black Mamba not to sell shoes, but to survive the darkest moment of his life, a mistake in a Colorado hotel room that almost destroyed him. He created an alter ego to hold the pain so that Kobe wouldn't have to. We will explore the price of perfection. Is it worth it? To be the best, do you have to be the loneliest? This is not a story about basketball. This is a story about a man who decided that if he couldn't make the world love him, he would make the world respect him, even if it killed him. Hello, storytellers. Welcome back. Imagine the NBA in 1996. Michael Jordan was God. The Chicago Bulls were the Beatles. And then, a skinny 17-year-old kid from Lower Merion High School declared for the draft. He needed his parents to co-sign his contract because he wasn't old enough to sign it himself. He wore sunglasses indoors. He spoke Italian. He was different. Critics said he was too young. Veterans said he was too soft. They didn't know that inside that skinny frame was a nuclear reactor of ambition that would burn for 2 decades. He would become the bridge between the old school and the new. The last gladiator of the era before social media. Today, we are going beyond the stats. We are going beyond the tragedy of 2020. We are stepping into the mind of the most obsessive competitor in the history of sports. From the lonely playgrounds of Italy to the bright lights of Hollywood. This is the story of the hero versus the villain. Let's begin. To understand the hunger, you have to taste the isolation. Joe Jellybean Bryant was an NBA player, a showman from Philadelphia. But when the NBA didn't want him anymore, he packed his bags and moved his family across the ocean to Rieti, Italy. Kobe was 6 years old. Imagine this. You are a black kid from Philly, dropped into a small, white, Catholic town in Italy. You don't speak the language. You don't know the culture. You are the only person who looks like you for miles. In school, the other kids looked at him like he was an exhibit in a museum. They called him Il Nero, the Black One. They didn't pass him the ball. They didn't invite him to birthday parties. He was an alien. So, what does a 6-year-old do when the world shuts him out? He builds his own world. Kobe retreated into the only place where language didn't matter, the basketball court. But in Italy, basketball wasn't the main sport. Soccer was. This is a crucial detail that most people miss. Kobe learned to move his feet like a soccer player before he learned to handle the ball like a basketball player. He learned footwork. He learned angles. He learned how to predict where the ball would go before it got there. While other American kids were playing AAU ball, learning to be flashy and athletic, Kobe was in a dusty gym in Reggio Emilia, learning the boring, fundamental geometry of the game. He played against grown men. His father's teammates would let him practice with them. They didn't take it easy on him. They knocked him down. He learned early that no one was going to give him anything. If he wanted the ball, he had to take it. He realized that if he scored more points than everyone else, they had to respect him, even if they couldn't pronounce his name. When the family moved back to Philadelphia in 1991, Kobe thought he was coming home. He was wrong. He was 13 years old, but he wasn't American enough for the kids in Philly. He spoke proper English, not slang. He dressed differently. He didn't know the cultural references. The black kids in the inner city called him a suburban sellout. They mocked his father's fame. They tried to bully him on the playgrounds of Lower Merion. Think about the psychology of this. In Italy, he was an outsider because he was black. In America, he was an outsider because he wasn't black enough. He didn't fit anywhere. He had no tribe. This is the moment the killer was born. Kanye West had his mother. Tom Cruise had his acting. Kobe Bryant had the kill list. He decided that he didn't need friends. Friends were distractions. Friends made you soft. Instead, he created a list of every player who was ranked higher than him. Every player who laughed at him. He didn't want to beat them. He wanted to embarrass them. He wanted to take their hearts. He started waking up at 5 a.m., not because he had to, but because he knew his enemies were sleeping. He would shadow box in front of the mirror, practicing his moves. He studied videotapes of Michael Jordan not as a fan, but as a scientist dissecting a specimen. By the time he was 17, he wasn't playing high school basketball. He was an assassin testing his weapons on children. He skipped college. He declared for the NBA draft. He was arrogant. He was brash. He wore sunglasses indoors. He told the world, "I'm taking my talents to the NBA." But the NBA is not a high school gym. And the NBA has a way of humbling arrogance very, very quickly. This is the scene, the defining moment, the crucible. It is May 12, 1997. The Delta Center, Salt Lake City. Western Conference Semifinals. Game 5. The Los Angeles Lakers versus the Utah Jazz. The series is tied. It is an elimination game. The pressure is suffocating. The Lakers are tired. Shaquille O'Neal has fouled out. The veterans are exhausted. The coach, Del Harris, looks down the bench. He sees the 8-year-old rookie, Kobe Bryant. He nods. Go in. Imagine the audacity. A teenager, not even old enough to buy a beer, is given the ball in the dying seconds of a playoff game against the toughest defense in the league. The score is tied 89-89. Kobe gets the ball. He isolates against Brian Russell. He drives. He pulls up for the game-winning jumper. The crowd holds its breath. He releases the ball. It looks good. And then, nothing. Air ball. It doesn't touch the rim. It doesn't touch the net. It floats harmlessly out of bounds. The Utah crowd erupts in laughter. Over time, the Lakers are desperate. They give the ball to Kobe again. He shoots a three-pointer. Air ball. A minute later, another shot. Air ball. Final seconds. A desperate heave to tie the game. Air ball. 4 air balls in a playoff game on national television. Millions of people are watching. The crowd in Utah is chanting, "Air ball, air ball." It is a humiliation so complete, so public, that it would destroy most players. Look at Kobe's face as he walks off the court. He isn't crying. He isn't hiding his head in a towel. His jaw is clenched. His eyes are wide, staring into the distance. Shaquille O'Neal puts an arm around him and says, "Don't worry about it, little fella." But Kobe didn't hear him. In that moment, walking into the tunnel with the sound of 20,000, people mocking him, Kobe Bryant died, and the Black Mamba was born. Most rookies would have gone home and partied to forget the pain, or they would have curled up in bed. Do you know what Kobe did? As soon as the plane landed in Los Angeles at 3 a.m., he drove to Palisades High School. He found the janitor. He bribed him to open the gym, and he shot the ball. He shot until the sun came up. He shot until his arms fell off. He kept shooting the exact same shot he missed in Utah. He didn't go home for 2 days. Let's pause the tape. We need to analyze this. Why did Kobe shoot 4 air balls? Was he scared? No. He took the shots. A scared man passes the ball. Was he untalented? No. He missed because he was weak. Physically weak. Kobe realized something profound that night. He didn't choke mentally. His legs gave out. An NBA season is 82 games. High school is 30. His 8-year-old legs weren't conditioned for the playoffs. His mechanics failed because his muscles failed. The lesson here is, failure is not a verdict. It is data. Most people look at failure as a sign that they aren't good enough. They internalize it. I am a loser. Kobe looked at failure as information. My triceps were tight. My legs were heavy. The shot was short. It wasn't emotional. It was mathematical. He didn't hate himself for missing. He hated the weakness that caused the miss. So he set out to execute the weakness. He built a weight training program that became legendary. He changed his diet. He analyzed the arc of his shot. He took the most humiliating moment of his life and turned it into the blueprint for his future dominance. He realized that night that you cannot rely on talent. You cannot rely on confidence. You can only rely on preparation. He vowed to never, ever let his body fail his mind again. But as his body became a weapon, his mind was becoming a fortress. A fortress that would shut everyone out, including the people he loved most. He was ready to conquer the NBA, but he wasn't ready for the temptations that came with the crown. Let's fast forward to the year 2000. The boy who shot air balls in Utah is gone. In his place stands a champion. Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal have created the most dominant dynasty since the Chicago Bulls. They win the title in 2000, then 2001, then 2002. A three-peat. Kobe is on top of the world. He is young, rich, married to his high school sweetheart, Vanessa, and he has the world at his feet. But appearances are a lie. Inside the locker room, a toxic war is brewing. Kobe isn't happy. Why? Because he isn't the alpha. He is winning, yes, but he is winning in Shaq's shadow. To a man obsessed with being Michael Jordan, being Scottie Pippen is a fate worse than death. He is arrogant. He is distant. He travels alone. He eats alone, while his teammates are celebrating in clubs. Kobe is in his hotel room, watching game tape, rewinding, studying, obsessing. He begins to resent Shaq. He resents Shaq's laziness. He resents that Shaq can come to camp out of shape and still dominate, while he, Kobe, works until his fingers bleed. The tension becomes public. The insults fly. The brotherhood breaks. Kobe wants control. He wants the keys to the kingdom. He feels invincible. He believes he can do no wrong. He believes the rules of gravity and the rules of society do not apply to him. This is called hubris. And in Greek tragedy, hubris is always followed by nemesis. The gods punish those who fly too close to the sun. And Kobe's punishment was waiting for him in a quiet, snowy town in the mountains of Colorado. June 30, 2003. Kobe Bryant checks into the lodge and spa at Cordillera in Eagle, Colorado. He is there for knee surgery. He is alone. His guard is down. What happens in that hotel room that night remains a subject of legal settlements and non-disclosure agreements. But what we know for a fact is this. A 19-year-old hotel employee entered his room. A sexual encounter occurred. And the next day, the police were called. The accusation was nuclear sexual assault. Imagine the moment the handcuffs clicked. Kobe Bryant, the prince of the NBA, the clean-cut kid with the smile, the heir to Jordan, was being booked for a felony that carries a life sentence. In a single night, the empire didn't just crack. It evaporated. The media storm was unlike anything we had ever seen. This was before Twitter. But the 24-hour news cycle feasted on him like piranhas. McDonald's dropped him. Nutella dropped him. Only Nike stayed. But they stopped showing his commercials. He wasn't a hero anymore. He was a monster. He was a punchline on late-night TV. The fans burned his jerseys in the streets. But the worst part wasn't the public hate. It was the private hell. He had to go home and look his wife in the eye. He had to confess to adultery. He had to watch her heartbreak. Then came the press conference. He sat there, holding Vanessa's hand, her knuckles white, her face a mask of pain, and he admitted to being unfaithful. He admitted to being a bad husband. He begged for forgiveness. He was stripped naked before the world. The arrogance was gone. All that was left was a terrified 4-year-old kid who realized he might lose his freedom, his family, and his life. Most people would crumble. Most people would hide. But Kobe Bryant had a job to do. The NBA season didn't stop for his trial, and this created the most surreal, exhausting, and psychologically damaging year in the history of sports. Here was his schedule. He would wake up at 4 a.m., fly to Colorado for a court hearing. He would sit in a courtroom for 8 hours, listening to lawyers describe him as a predator, listening to the possibility that he might die in prison. Then, he would rush to a private jet. He would change into his Lakers uniform on the plane. He would land in Los Angeles, or Sacramento, or San Antonio, minutes before tip-off. He would run onto the court without stretching. And the crowd was vicious. Every time he touched the ball, 20,000 people screamed, "Guilty, guilty," or "rapist." They held up signs. They threw things. He was the most hated man in America. He was physically exhausted, mentally shattered, emotionally bankrupt. He couldn't focus. His game was suffering. He felt the darkness closing in. He felt like he was drowning in the noise. He realized that Kobe Bryant, the smiling boy from Philly, could not survive this. Kobe was too weak. Kobe was too human. Kobe was hurt by the booze. If he wanted to survive, he needed to stop being Kobe. He needed to become something else. Something cold. Something emotionless. Something dead. This is the moment of transformation. The psychological split. Kobe is sitting in his hotel room. He is watching the movie Kill Bill. He sees the character of the assassin. Code name Black Mamba. The snake known for its aggression. The snake that doesn't just bite to kill, but bites repeatedly. Kobe pauses the movie. He looks at the screen, and he makes a decision. He decides to create an alter ego. He explains it like this: Kobe is the guy who has to deal with the court case, the family, the pain. The Black Mamba, he handles the business on the court. It sounds like a comic book story, but for Kobe, it was a mechanism of sanity. When he stepped onto the court, he visualized himself shedding his human skin. He stopped smiling. He stopped high-fiving. He started jutting out his jaw. The booze didn't hurt the Mamba. The Mamba ate the hate. The Mamba used the screams as fuel. Watch the games from 2004. There is a specific night against the Orlando Magic. Kobe has spent the entire day in court. He is exhausted. He arrives at the game late. The Lakers are losing. He checks in. He doesn't look at his teammates. He looks through them. He scores 24 points in the fourth quarter. He destroys them. He is angry. He is dunking with a violence that feels personal. He isn't playing basketball. He is punishing the rim for the sins of his life. He realized that the more the world hated him, the better he played. He channeled all his fear, his shame, and his rage into a laser beam of focus. He accepted the role of the villain. You want to hate me? Fine. I will give you a reason to hate me. I will beat your team. I will break your heart. And I will look you in the eye while I do it. Let's stop the game. We need to dissect the psychology of the Mamba. Why did this save him? The lesson here is profound. Compartmentalization is a superpower. Kobe taught us that when life becomes unbearable, you cannot let the darkness flood the entire house. You have to build rooms. He built a room for the pain, and he built a room for the performance. He realized that confidence isn't about feeling good. It's about deciding who is in charge. When he was scared, he didn't try to be brave. He simply let the Mamba take the wheel. This wasn't just basketball. This was survival. He showed us that sometimes you have to kill the part of yourself that seeks approval. The nice guy died in Colorado. The killer rose in Los Angeles. But this power came with a terrible price. To maintain the Mamba, he had to isolate himself completely. He pushed Shaq away. Shaq was traded. He pushed his friends away. He was finally the alpha. He was finally the king. But he was the king of a desolate kingdom. He was scoring 81 points in a game, but he was driving home alone. He had conquered the abyss, but he was about to learn that being the best player in the world is a very lonely job. He had the crown. Now he had to carry the weight. They say time heals all wounds. But for Kobe Bryant, time didn't just heal. It refined. After the darkness of Colorado, after the trade of Shaq, Kobe spent years wandering in the desert of mediocrity. He was scoring 35 points a game, but he was losing. He was the king of nothing. He realized that being a killer wasn't enough. You cannot win a war alone. So, the Black Mamba evolved. He learned a new skill: trust. He welcomed Pau Gasol, a gentle giant from Spain, not as a subordinate, but as a brother. He softened the edges of his leadership. He stopped screaming and started teaching. And in 2009 and 2010, he climbed back to the mountaintop. He won 2 more rings. Without Shaq. When he stood on the scorer's table in 2010, arms outstretched, confetti falling, he wasn't the arrogant kid anymore. He was a scarred veteran. He had vindicated himself. He had proven that you can fall into the abyss, climb out, and still touch the sky. But the cost of that climb was his body. The knees were bone on bone. The fingers were dislocated so many times they were permanently crooked. The Achilles snapped. The shoulder tore. By 2015, the machine was breaking down. The invincible Mamba was mortal. He was shooting airballs again. He was slow. The world watched with sadness. It is painful to see a lion lose its teeth, But Kobe didn't want our pity. He had one final act to perform. This is the perfect ending. The kind of ending that, if you wrote it in a movie script, Hollywood would reject it for being too unrealistic. April 13, 2016. The final game. Kobe is 37 years old. His body is a wreck. He has barely been able to walk all season. Everyone expects him to wave to the crowd, score 10 points, and fade away. But the Mamba had one last clip in the gun. He starts the game missing. He looks tired. But then, the smoke clears. The old rhythm returns. He starts hitting, and hitting, and hitting. The crowd goes into a frenzy. He is exhausted. You can see him gasping for air in the timeouts, wrapping himself in ice towels, staring 1,000 yards into the distance. He is pushing his heart rate to dangerous levels. His teammates keep feeding him the ball. 50 points. The Utah Jazz are trying to win, but they are fighting a ghost. With seconds left, he pulls up. Swish. 60 points. He wins the game. He stands at center court, sweat pouring off him, a towel around his neck, and he says 2 words that will echo forever. Mamba out. He drops the mic. But this is not where the story ends. This is where the real story begins. Most athletes die 2 deaths. The first is when they retire. They lose their purpose. They get depressed. They get fat. They get lost. Kobe Bryant didn't die. He pivoted. He traded the jersey for a suit. He traded the ball for a pen. He woke up the next morning at 4 a.m., not to train, but to write. He wrote Dear Basketball. He turned it into a film. People laughed. A basketball player winning an Oscar. In 2018, he walked onto the stage at the Academy Awards and held the golden statue. He had conquered a new world. But his greatest achievement wasn't the Oscar. It was the role he had ignored for so long. Dad. For 20 years, he belonged to the Lakers. Now, he belonged to his daughters. Natalia, Bianca, Capri, and Gianna. Gigi. She was the Mambacita. She had his eyes. She had his fadeaway. She had his fire. Kobe didn't just coach her. He worshipped her. He stopped watching NBA games until Gigi asked him to. He went to games not as a legend, but as a father explaining the triangle offense to his little girl. He found a peace in those gyms that he never found in the Staples Center. The scowl was gone. The villain was gone. He was smiling. He was happy. He was finally, truly free. And then the fog rolled in. January 26, 2020. A Sunday morning. The world stopped. Phones buzzed. Texts flew. Is it true? Please tell me it's not true. The helicopter. The fog. The crash. Kobe. And Gigi. It felt like a glitch in the universe. Superman isn't supposed to die. Heroes are supposed to grow old. The pain that washed over the world was physical. Grown men cried in the streets. Murals appeared on walls from Los Angeles to the Philippines to Italy. Why did it hurt so much? Because he was just getting started. Because we watched him grow from an arrogant boy into a wise man. Because he didn't die doing something reckless. He died being a father. He died taking his daughter to play the game they both loved. In the wreckage, there was a final, heartbreaking detail. They found them together. Even in the last terrifying second. We know that his arm was around her. He was protecting her. The Mamba didn't die fighting a bear. He died holding his heart. So, what is the legacy of Kobe Bean Bryant? It is not the 5 championships. It is not the 81 points. His legacy is a blueprint for human potential. He taught us that talent is overrated. Obsession is the only thing that matters. He taught us that the villain and the hero are just roles we play. The real person is the one who does the work in the dark when no one is watching. But his final lesson, the one he taught us in his last 3 years, is the most important. Greatness is not what you achieve. Greatness is what you give back. He spent 20 years trying to be the best. He spent his final years trying to make the next generation the best. He passed the torch to Gigi, to the WNBA players, to the young writers. He showed us that it is never too late to change. It is never too late to soften. He left us a manual on how to live. Wake up early. Do the work. Love your family. And leave the game better than you found it. Kobe Bryant is gone. The body is buried. But the Mamba is immortal. Every time a kid balls up a piece of paper and throws it into a trash can yelling Kobe, he lives. Every time someone wakes up at 4 a.m. to chase a dream, he lives. He didn't lose the battle against time. He beat the clock. Because heroes get remembered, but legends never die. So, as we look back at the 41 years of Kobe Bean Bryant, what do we see? We don't just see a basketball player. We see a manual on how to master the human spirit. We started with the alien in the gym, the lonely boy who taught us that failure is data. When he shot 4 air balls in Utah, he didn't crumble. He went back to the lab. He taught us that embarrassment is not a stop sign. It is a GPS location telling you exactly where you need to improve. He proved that confidence doesn't come from compliments. It comes from the work you do in the dark. We walked with him through the abyss of 2003, where he birthed the Black Mamba. He showed us the power of the alter ego. He taught us that when the world tries to break you, you have to build a fortress around your mind. You have to compartmentalize the pain, use the hate as fuel, and execute with cold-blooded precision. He showed us that sometimes you have to be the villain in someone else's story to be the hero in your own. And finally, we saw the father in the fog, the man who learned that the ultimate trophy isn't gold, it's giving back. He evolved from a selfish scorer into a selfless teacher. He showed us that the hardest thing for a warrior to do is to put down the sword and pick up a storybook. But in doing so, he achieved the only thing that beats death: immortality. Kobe Bryant wasn't perfect. He was messy. He was complicated. He was obsessive. But he was real. And he squeezed every single drop out of the orange. My friends, I want to leave you with a challenge. We live in a world that loves shortcuts. We want the success, but we don't want the 4 a.m. wake-up calls. We want the championship, but we don't want the air balls. Kobe is gone, but the Mamba mentality is sitting right there, waiting for you to pick it up. It doesn't matter if you are an athlete, a writer, a teacher, or a parent. The mindset is the same. Be better today than you were yesterday. Just 1%. That's it. When you feel tired, when you feel like quitting, when you feel like the world is against you, remember the man who walked to the free throw line on a torn Achilles. He didn't ask for a way out. He asked for the ball. Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't make excuses. As Kobe famously said, rest at the end, not in the middle. Your job isn't finished yet. Now, I want to hear from you. We all have a Mamba moment in our lives. A time when we had to push through impossible pain to get the job done. What is yours? Share your story of resilience in the comments below. Let's turn this comment section into a monument to hard work. I read every single one. If this deep dive into the mind of a legend inspired you to push a little harder tomorrow, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us keep these stories alive against the algorithm. And if you want to understand the man Kobe chased his entire life, the ghost, he was always trying to catch you, absolutely must watch our documentary on Michael Jordan, The Ghost versus The Gambler. It is the perfect prequel to this story. To understand the student, you must understand the master. Click right here to watch it now. Thank you for spending your time with us. I'm Peter. Job's not finished. Mamba out.